Hey there, it's Sam with a Friday video for you. Hope everyone's doing well. Happy Friday, happy St. Patrick's Day. As you can see, if you're watching the video content, not listening to the audio later, I'm wearing my green dragon shirt, so that's about as St. Patrick as I get, I guess. Just a quick video today, and as you can see, also if you're familiar with my video content, I'm not in my normal space. Some of you have heard my grandma recently passed away. Thank you for those who have offered condolences, and so now I'm with family. This is my childhood bedroom right behind me, and getting ready to get on the road in a little bit to go up for my grandma's funeral. So it'll be a good time. It's nice to be family, nice to be with family, even despite the circumstances. So that's where I am right now. I'm not gonna do a quick, not gonna do a long video right now or anything, just a short one because we have a lot else going on. But I wanted to just give you a quick update of my story, my progress on Fractured Heroes. If you've been following my videos and stuff, you heard I really made it my goal, and I said this in a video so people can hold me accountable. Made it my goal to finish, really wrap up my edits this month in March. I mean, if it spills over a few days into April, maybe, but okay, but I'm really trying to not drag this out because I've dragged it out for a long time already, and I was like, I just need to cut it off and start querying pretty soon. So my goal is to wrap it up in March as close as I can, and then begin querying publishers in April. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to be at the end of this process, or well, end, but at least the end of one chapter, hopefully, and beginning of another chapter. If you didn't already know from watching my videos, I have in the past, I guess it's been almost 2 years, a year and 3/4 or whatever, that I've been working on this, on cutting it specifically. I've cut my story down from from almost 200,000 words. It was like I got 193K before, to about 130,000 words. So I've cut out over 60,000 words from it. Some of you who have long stories are maybe in that same boat. You need to do that. An agent I talked to a while back told me around 125K is what they look for a debut sci-fi novel. Okay, mine's still not. It's not quite 125. It's like 130, but I'm pretty dang close compared to what I was. And you may be asking, if you're in the same boat, you may be asking, how did you do that? Great question. So I just want to tell you a little bit of the tips I've done, even recently in the past few weeks and stuff that I've worked on. One major thing is cutting the backstory. If you've even heard part of my story, you know I had a lot of backstories because it's superheroes, and it's an ensemble cast, and I wanted to tell other origin stories too in the main novel, which I did through flashbacks and such. At one point, I was in the stage where about a third of the book was flashbacks. So I think nearly 200,000 words, and a third of that is flashbacks. Yeah, it's too much, obviously, and everyone who read it told me that. My beta reader editor, Rebecca Flovin, I had her on a few weeks ago. You can go listen to our talk. She told me that. She was like, this is like kind of all the origin Marvel movies and the Avengers rolled into one. Like if you watch all six Phase One Marvel movies, but like leading up to the Avengers, it's like having those all in one story. And I'm like, yeah, I see your point. That's too much. So I cut out a lot of backstories. Not all. There's still some parts that are pretty much essential to the plot. So there's still a prolonged section of backstory in the middle. I don't really know how to get around that too much, but basically I have these 4 or 5 other short scenes that could function as short stories for each of my characters that I've cut out. I mean, I still kept them in a document. I saved them, so I'm not gonna like get rid of them completely. I can either publish them as a short story later, or maybe release them online for people who sign up from the newsletter, or maybe eventually publish in a short story anthology. I'm not sure yet, so I'll find something to do with those. But I just realized after a while they don't need to be part of the novel. They're slowing down the action of the novel. They're taking the reader out of the main action, because some of them were even near the end, like toward the climax, and I was just like, this isn't working. So I just cut a lot of those. So that was I mean, yes, I've also done line edits, and I've also gone through my whole novel and cut out wordiness where I could, but cutting the backstory is definitely the biggest thing. Cutting a lot of the backstory. And the other thing I did recently, actually, I mean, I also I cut out the last backstory. Like I had one left that I was like, I can still include it, right? And I just it wasn't working. And again, Rebecca told me it wasn't needed, so I cut out the backstory of Maria. If you're familiar with Maria slash Ruby. She's the daughter of a crime boss, and she rebels against him and becomes a crime fighter basically. And I still have her main backstory. There, like when she basically runs away from home and turns against her father and stuff like that. That's still in the book. It's kind of essential. But there was a scene from her childhood, like earlier. The only point of that scene was really to establish that her father is a crime boss, and I'm like, it's a character building scene, but it's not really important. I'll cut it. Again, that's one of the ones I might publish somewhere else later. There was another scene where like Maria, she also in flashbacks, she helps put her father in jail, and like I had her going back to the house she grew up in, and like finding evidence against him and breaking in and finding some ledger. And I never really explained why the ledger was important, other than that it had details of his crimes, but that was pretty vague. And I was like, well, that's important because he has to be put in jail. And then I asked myself, does he? Or well, no, he does go in jail. That's an important part of the story. But I was like, is there another way to do this? If I cut out that scene, so actually because the scene was kind of cumbersome, and it also paralleled the scene about her childhood, like growing up in that house and then coming back to it after she's run away. But I had taken out that scene too, so I was like, this scene is less important now. I asked my lawyer friend, Corbin Payne, he's been on here before. He's also a writer, so I have a friend who's a lawyer and a writer and a story fan that's helpful. I asked him, like, is there any way, I was like, realistically, what kind of evidence would be needed to put away something like this? And basically I'm trying to see if I take out a scene where she goes to find the evidence and just to do it a different way, can I make that work? And he gave me some good advice. He said, like, the crime bosses always have like a guy who's in charge of the books, like an accountant or basically a guy who's who's in charge of managing the finances and the details and stuff, and the police would go after that guy instead. And so I took out one scene. I added in this minor character who's just the crime boss's right hand man, who's going to be the guy in charge of the books. But I'm just going to explain, hey, the police are going after him instead. Maria can give them the name of that guy rather than breaking into the house and getting physical evidence. She can give the police the name of that guy, and that cuts out a whole scene. And she still puts her father in jail. So I did that, and it's working for now. I'm still editing some of the characters to fit with this new story arc. Like I'm still, you take out one scene, then you have to think of what else is affected by that scene and change little things. So I'm doing that too. But I took out that scene, and I'm like, I think it's gonna be a lot tighter and smoother without that scene and without all these extra backstory scenes. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I guess the moral of my story there is ask yourself with your scenes, like, is there a way you can cut this out? I mean, some of you maybe are trying to get up to a certain word count. If you're underwriters, a lot of us, like myself, are overwriters, so we have trouble getting it down to a certain count. So I'd say ask yourself, like, what's the point of this? Ask yourself things like, what's the point of this scene? And is there another way, like a smaller, simpler way I could accomplish that? For a long time I was telling myself, no, I need that scene and stuff like that. But I just realized, I realized the whole point of this scene was just to like introduce this concept that her dad's a crime boss, and I was like, I can do that in a lot simpler ways. I don't need this whole chapter of her childhood to explain that, and stuff like that. So yeah, ask yourself how you can cut scenes. Ask yourself if you can make it work. I guarantee you. I mean, some scenes are essential. Obviously, you can't do it all the time, but there probably are scenes you can cut to make it work. Again, if you need expertise, ask someone like a lawyer friend or someone who specializes in a certain area. If you need ideas, ask another writer if you need ideas. Workshop things with other writers. Be like, how would I work around this? Maybe if you need ideas. I thought about doing that too. But just there are always ways, always up to a point. There are often ways to cut out your scenes and make your novel a lot tighter and then really keep the action moving. So I'd encourage you to work on that and do that. I'm still working on it too, but I'm getting close and I'm pleased with the progress. So hope that helps you, and I hope you'll stick around to see the finished product of Fractured Heroes whenever that is ready. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. I hope it's productive, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.